Thomas saying that she was the SEC Freshman of the Year pick for her. And just look at those accolades, a 10 on bars at Illinois last week, an average of 9.960. And she's the two-time SEC Freshman of the Week. I mean, you can't ask more. What an amazing start to her career so far.
Absolutely. It was the first perfect 10 in 3 years for Alabama. All right, let's go over the rules. 6 gymnasts compete per team in each event. The top 5 scores count. The lowest score is dropped out. The team with the highest score will come out on top. You see the home order: Alabama vaults, bars, beam, and the floor. And then for Georgia, it'll be bars, vault, floor, and the beam. It's a regular season finale. Friday Night Heights. Where else would you rather be than to watch these two teams collide, as they have done so many times over the years? So Alabama starting. Here's the freshman, Jasmine Cawley, out of Florida. The reigning SEC Freshman of the Week.
Excited to see what Jasmine does tonight. She'll be doing a 10-0 start value, Yurchenko 1.5 twist. You want to watch the landing here. Has to take a hop. It's a good mistake. She has extra juice in the tank, gets a nice block off the table. Legs are squeezed in the air, which you always want to see. And a bit of a pogo stick hop there. I would have loved to see her absorb. But solid start for the Tide.
How critical is a fast start?
It's what you need, especially in a meet that's paced like this. Alabama, Georgia, it's just one of those rivalries that really built up the sport. So you're going to want to start with a high 9.85, to say the least.
So here's the senior out of Hungary, the Nebraska transfer. First 2 years in Nebraska, now competing her senior season at Georgia.
She's been a solid leadoff for the Gymdogs. This year, 360 right on top of the bar. And a bit sloppy on that landing. She not only took a hop, but that chest was down. There was some arm swinging, just showing the judges that she lacked a little control there on the end. And on our coaches call this week with head coach Ryan Roberts, he said that a focal point is getting their stick percentage up. Hopefully this is the score that they will drop. But again, want to keep the goal in mind as we're rolling here.
Yeah, that was definitely the point of emphasis for Georgia in the build-up to this. Here's the junior out of Yorktown, Virginia, Sears.
She has so much power. It can sometimes be her Achilles heel. But not tonight. That is the best Yurchenko 1.5 that I have seen Jamison Sears put on her feet this year. Funny enough, in talking to head coach Ashley Johnson, she said that this was a vault that they really had to work meticulously on. She had to relearn her technique. She has been struggling in that last part right there. You saw her spot the landing, and clearly she's pretty happy about it.
She didn't compete last week in the vault and immediately does that tonight. Here's Wall.
If you want anybody to get you on track and get that stick percentage up, it's going to be Addie Wall. So solid for this Georgia team. A tiny bit short on that pirouette, but really nice job gliding, keeping that smooth swing. Double layout to finish, and bang, just gets that first stick for Georgia.
It's only her second time this season to be in the 2 spot in the lineup.
Well, they've had to rework this lineup a bit. You lose somebody like Lily Smith, who is just perfection for them. And you have to rework, and having a senior like Addie, who is just money every time, it's exactly what you want in your bar lineup.
Here's the freshman, Mackenzie Matters, grew up about an hour outside of Philadelphia. 4th straight event, being 3rd in the vault for Alabama.
Definitely a wow moment in this vault lineup. Does a front entry vault, a bit short on that landing. I saw her drill it in the warm-ups. She's been really trying to hone in that block.
Well, you mentioned Lily Smith, the junior. This is in warm-ups, February 27th against Kentucky, and you could see it right away.
Such a disheartening thing, not only just to watch as a viewer, but just know that you are towards the end of your career. She is such a beautiful gymnast to watch. But she says that her teammates have her back.
This is Brooke Pearson, a freshman, grew up right outside of Portland. First time this season, been in the third spot on bars.
Been really impressed with this gymnast right here, the way she's been able to clutch up for this Georgia team. Gorgeous extension on that last handstand there. Doesn't get the stick, but very clean, everything in between the bars. Gonna take one more look here. Really nice height on that dismount, but just opened a little bit too early there. Had to take the step.
Here's Gabby Gladio, senior out of Greensboro, North Carolina.
She put a phenomenal Yurchenko 1.5 last week against Illinois. Her first stick. See if she can. Doesn't necessarily get the stick, but it's so impressive to see her get that lift off the table. She has springs in her feet. Great position on the entry. Very nice, but again, really big hop on the landing. The judges will take for that, but she's finding a lot of things. It's her senior night.
Right. Here's the freshman out of Orange, New Jersey, Khalees Wolford, coming off a career high in bars last week in Huntsville.
Khalees is another one of those gymnasts that just will take your breath away on this event. Just that airtime on the back salto is stunning. And again, there on that Van Leeuwen transition to the high bar, holds the handstand. Didn't get the stick there, has been struggling a little bit here in the last couple weeks trying to find that landing, but that was certainly a better performance than we've seen in the last couple weeks. Very elegant bar swinger right on top. And this was really the only moment in the routine where there was a break. Great job for the Bulldogs so far.
Here's Jordan Paradise, senior out of Tampa, Florida. Missed all of 2024 with an injury.
Another senior hoping to make a core memory tonight. She certainly does. Gets her night started off on the right foot. It's been so great to see her come back from that almost career-ending injury. You see her knee taped up there. She's a fifth-year senior. She's seen it all. She's been through so much change, not just with the coaching staff and a culture standpoint, but it's just been such an asset to this team and incredible vaulter, to say the least.
Yeah, she really is. Here's Jeffrey Scott, senior out of Kansas City, Missouri, coming off career high in bars last week in Huntsville. Sister Brooke is committed to compete at Auburn next season.
Just such an exclamation point to start off a bar routine with such exquisite lines and just pure power. She's gonna do a double layout dismount. She does a really great job of spotting the landing. It's a very, I don't even call it a hop, it was a slide. But watch her hips just continue to rise. I think was a little bit too excited to get to that landing, but still should be a great score.
Are you ready for Alabama's competitor on balls is Azarea Akbar.
Here's the superstar freshman, Azarea Akbar.
Says a lot being a freshman anchor for this vault lineup. Oh no. Very uncharacteristic. She's actually been building her consistency, stuck a couple. We'll watch back here. She was just opened way too early there. I was also looking to see a little bit more of a centered landing. You could see she lands on that white line and let her hips completely just get under her. Really hard when you're fighting that backwards momentum.
Brings up the freshman for Georgia, Autumn Reingold out of Cypress, Texas. She also had a career high in bars last week.
Really nice pike to Jaeger to start. I really love the way that she takes her time. Great shapes so far. Virtually nothing to take from an execution standpoint. She really wants to cement her feet here, and she does. And we'll see here a little bit of a celebration. Funny story there, actually came from Autumn. And Ryan Roberts, for the viewers out there, this is an ex-Marine. He's very straight to business, but is so happy for his athletes, and you can just see it. He talks about the buy-in from the athletes, but there's also a buy-in from the coaches as well.
He was a lot of fun to visit with this week as well. Former Marine, he's been in gymnastics his whole life. An exhibition here for Alabama.
Again, we see something similar to Azza with Chloe's technique. You see the gymnasts go off center usually because of the pre-flight. So whatever you do before you get into the air, if you're rushing it just a bit, you're gonna see that in the landing there. But again, for Chloe, it's just about getting reps. She's a junior, so she has one more year left. She's looking to make an impact in this vault lineup, hopefully next year to come, and be there if need be in the postseason, which we know can be brutal.
We will be back to Coleman Coliseum, first event in the books. Getting ready for the start of the second rotation inside Coleman Coliseum. Georgia off to a good start. Regular season finale for both of these teams. Senior day for Alabama. What do you remember most about Senior Day?
Just wanting to be present in the moment. I had the honor and privilege of having two senior days in my time at Alabama, so I really got more than I thought and couldn't be more grateful for both experiences.
Bree Scott with a start on vault for Georgia. A wonderful start.
Near perfect Yurchenko full. That vault starts from a 9.95, so that is the maximum score that she will receive for that vault. What stands out to me is just that flight in the air. She really does a great job of flaring her hips and opening her arms to set up that gorgeous landing.
She's been lead off in vault in every meet this year, and it's because she sets the tone so well for Georgia. Now for Alabama, here's Peyton Walker, the sophomore. Grew up right outside of Oakland, California.
An athlete that is so talented, so mentally resilient, dealing with the personal struggles, having to change the way she attacks her gymnastics with her diagnosis earlier last year with the rheumatoid arthritis, and just finds a way to make it happen every time.
She didn't compete last week.
And that's probably due to managing pain and finding ways to still be in the mix. Great handstand on top of that bar there.
And a fantastic start for Alabama.
She should be extremely happy with that routine. Taking a look at this transition right here, the Van Leeuwen. Great height there with the hips and right on the money with the handstand. Again, just that landing was the biggest deduction out of the entire routine.
Here's the freshman, Brooke Pearson. Mom Leslie was a gymnast at Oregon State. Her sister Gabby will compete there as well.
Watching this landing here too. Great job of minimizing deduction there. I would have loved to seen a little bit more height off the table, but is quick to get to that controlled landing. No major angles on the table, which is what you want to see. And assistant coach Alexi very happy with his gymnast efforts there.
She should be. It's only her second time this season to compete in the vault.
A lot of standout freshmen in that Georgia group having to clutch up again for their teammate Lily Smith, who went down with that injury.
Here's Gladio. Career high in bars a week ago.
She opens her bar routine with a massive Jaeger. Great position on that bail. Usually her hips are a bit lower. Love to see the improvement there. Double back to finish. And gets the stick. Hyped for that one. Getting a stick on senior night just hits different.
She knew it right away, too.
You could tell just from the lift off the bar. Her toes were even gripping to absorb that landing. That's exactly what the judges want to see to show that the gymnast is fully in control of her movement there.
Here's the freshman out of Ohio, Avery Mold. She's competed in the vault in every meet this season.
Yurchenko 1.5 as well. Wow. Great landing there. Gets the stick, obviously adding to that stick percentage that the Gym Dogs want to continue to build tonight. Really nice. Doesn't necessarily get the height, but straight extended positions in the air. Puts her arms up for the landing. And Alabama trying to rile this crowd up here.
You think they're excited for senior day?
I think they're fired up because Gabby Gladio just went 9.95, a career best for the senior on senior night.
Her previous was 9.90 a couple of years ago. Here's the senior out of Melissa, Texas, Natalia Pavlok, the Pitt transfer.
Specialist on the uneven bars, and you'll see why right here.
Had a career high in bars a week ago.
Bit of bent arms on that Maloney, but finds a way to get her swing back on that overshoot. Double layout here. Takes the step back. Not going to be a perfect 10, but going to be a solid start and something that she will remember for the rest of her life here.
No doubt about it. Loves Alabama so much, she's going to stick around. She will go to law school at Alabama. Here's the freshman Nyla Aquino out of Boston, Massachusetts.
Don't blink on this one. Does a really unique entry. Wow. Really nice there. It's good to have these diversity in vaults because it makes the judges take a second to look back. There was a bit of leg separation on the pre-flight there before she made impact with the table. I have a feeling that's virtually all they will take with that slight slide there on the landing.
Here's the sophomore out of California, Ryan Fuller. Ninth meet in a row for her to compete in bars. Last time she was at home, she had a career best against Kentucky.
Really clean gymnastics here from Ryan Fuller. Just with talking with her teammates, they just describe her as clockwork, somebody who always shows up and you know what you're gonna get every time. Finishes off double layout. Landings aren't necessarily there tonight for the Tide. But what they're doing in between the bars is seamless. Really nice on the execution. Just the leg separation and had too much, over-rotated that dismount. Had to take the step back.
Kamara Williams, the freshman out of Kansas City, Missouri, was the SEC Freshman of the Week back in February. Signed with Georgia in November, joined the team in December.
She has been so consistent. The coaches have been so happy with her transition into college gymnastics because you come from an environment where you're not used to competing week after week. And it's not an easy thing to do. She's making it look like a walk in the park, and that Yurchenko 1.5 was textbook. The position in the landing, everything was top tier.
Here's Lacourcier, one of the best in the business on the bars. Back-to-back career highs.
Gorgeous handstand to start. A bit of leg separation in the Maloney, which I usually don't see from Chloe, and a break there in that handstand. Little bobbles here and there. And just drills the landing on that full twisting double back. Hoping that she can make the judges forget about the small bobbles that she had. We'll take a look here again. Might not be able to see it from this side angle, but there's a bit of leg separation there as her hips rise, but just so over and above what you need to do on the extension of that swing, and nothing to take on that landing there. Picture perfect.
For junior Addie Wall.
Really great flare out there. Not the stick that we saw from Kamara Williams, but when we watch this vault back, you'll notice that her hips extend. Most athletes want to set themselves up. They tend to pike, not Addie. She has extra power to spare.
Are you ready for Alabama's final competitor on bars?
But pretty solid effort there from Wall.
Here's Azarea Akbar. You know she wants to bounce back after her first event tonight.
Just in observing the way Azarea has competed this season, it's difficult to not only have all this pressure on you, but to be a freshman and know that this is also her first time stepping into these moments. She's been a bit of hot and cold, and I think that just is a learning curve when you start out. But just to echo once again what head coach Ashley Johnson said, wow, that first handstand was just exquisite. But to echo coach again, she has this star presence that just sets her apart from anyone else. Wow.
I think the smile says it all.
The smile, the execution. She simply is a star on the bars. Again, just the height is unreal on that double back. She almost has no reaction after that because she knows that that is her standard. She lets herself celebrate with her teammates there, but only after the job is done.
Her perfect 10 last week was only the 5th in program history for Alabama.
I gotta say, I disagree with the judges there. Might have to see some meet summaries. There's just a polish to her work that I continue to say it, but it's truly unmatched.
One more exhibition here. This is Paradise.
Really so great to see these seniors getting another opportunity here in the exhibition spot. You have the excitement, but you don't have the pressure of hitting when you're in that lineup spot. You continue to build your resume to show that you can show up in the hard moments. So happy with that performance, and again, just stacking up these core memories for this senior class that has been through it all. Coaches talk about how they've been seniors with them. They're sharing this moment of, we made it, we did it, and it's just been a celebration the entire day leading up until this point.
We are now happy to be joined by Georgia co-head coach Ryan Roberts. Coach, thanks for being with us. How do you feel about your start tonight?
I think really good start, season high on vault, so going away in the SEC is always a challenge, so I'm really happy with what we're doing so far.
Talk about Kamara's vault. You said in the coaches call that you're just so impressed with her consistency. Talk about what she'll do next on the floor exercise.
Yeah, I mean, she's a tough competitor, really good. She's a powerhouse, so I expect her to do what she normally does, go out there and lights out on floor.
What's the biggest thing you want to see the rest of the way?
I want to see them have fun on the floor. When they're competing, when they're having fun, they compete well and just show off, do what they can do, normal stuff.
Coach, thanks for the time. Best of luck the rest of the way.
All right, thank you.
Alabama at home on senior night. The Stars on the bars showing out in Tuscaloosa. Regular season finale hasn't disappointed this Friday night in T-Town. Georgia has the advantage over Alabama after the first two events. Georgia looking for their first win in Tuscaloosa since 2006. More and more people piling inside Coleman Coliseum. How about the start tonight for Georgia?
Just so honestly expected with the natural energy that comes with this rivalry. It pushes the athletes to be better, to fight for every 10th, for every landing, and we're seeing it here at its finest. When you get to this point of season 2, we were talking to head coach Ashley Johnson, it's the grind of the third quarter, she says, where mental and physical struggle really starts to set in. And this weekend, with that natural excitement, it's built this renewed excitement in the athletes to seeing the finish line and knowing that they can do this.
So the senior Rachel Rybicki leading off the beam. It's her first beam this season for Alabama.
Was in that exhibition at Illinois last weekend. Did a great job of proving that this lineup, this leadoff role is nothing new to her. Rachel has been battling some back pain all season long, and this has been an event where she really hasn't been able to put it together. Great fight there, could have easily come off the beam. Really great on that switch half, but just some bobbles here and there. You can see she's to the point now where she's trying to just get through this routine, put it on her feet, and get the tide rolling here. Beautiful extension in the legs there on that leap combo. Despite having small balance checks here and there, you'd be surprised how much a great dismount can impact the score. Really fights for the stick. I will say, it's not the score that they're gonna wanna count today. Watch the way her hips just fall out of line. That foot comes up. Again, really hard to fight that momentum. And just pops right up on her toes. Again, over rotation on the landing. It's gonna make you do that.
Here's the senior out of Knoxville, Tennessee, Aaron Williams for Georgia. 6th straight time being the leadoff on the floor for Georgia this season.
Opening tumbling run, ground out back handspring, double pike. Bit of a balance check there as well. Had to question that landing. Aaron, one of those seniors the coaching staff is so proud of, has a position lined up after this. You got to think both teams are feeling the pressure here. Both starting off with uncharacteristic mistakes once again. Final tumbling pass, double back to finish. Under rotates that landing as well. You can see it all over her face. She's not happy with that performance.
Well, you mentioned nerves. What would you attribute it to?
I think it's the pressure of competing in this environment here and being too excited to land almost there. She opened way too early on that front full. And then again, just looked like she was a bit ahead of herself the entire time.
Here's Love Bird, the sophomore. She was leadoff on beam last week, first time this season to be in the 2 spot.
First collegiate routine and having to clutch up like that, really impressive to see from the sophomore. Coaches weren't surprised with her performance at all. Love did her home training at First State Gymnastics in Delaware, a gym that has produced world champions, elite level athletes like Love, who was a former USA national team member. So she's no stranger to meeting pressure moments easily and finding a way to make it happen. Bit of a bobble there on the beat jump to split ring. I'm not sure if the judges will give her credit for that, which will ultimately impact her start value. Has to take a hop on the landing, but another area where Love had a bit of an issue last week. She put her chest down entirely at Illinois, so great improvement there. Great full wolf turn to open, but really stood out to me, unfortunately, was this beat jump right there. You saw there was a shift in her feet. It wasn't completely smoothed out. We'll see if the judges give her the start value there.
Here's Bak Shakoy, second straight meets to compete on the floor.
International elite level gymnast. It's actually what she will be doing after her senior year. She wants to move back home, and you see that Olympic tattoo there. Great opening with that full twisting double back, bringing some difficulty that I was talking about.
She's battled injuries throughout the course of her career, but she's finally starting to get healthy and making an impact for Georgia.
Sets up this next tumbling pass, round off back handspring, 2.5 twists to the punch front. Beautiful control on that landing as well. Great shapes in the air on that popa. Definitely happy with that performance for the Gym Dogs. Getting back to a little bit more of their normal here on floor exercise. Another look at that opening tumbling run. Just a bit of leg separation. And then that stellar 2.5 to punch front that virtually had nothing to take as well. Should be a high score for the Gym Dogs.
Brings up the senior Gabby Gladio. First time this season being in the 3 spot on the beam. See her decorated resume.
Gabby Gladio has had such a journey here at Alabama. Just a natural competitor, a seasoned veteran, which is why you did not see her come off the beam despite being off on that acro series. She really is the type of gymnast that creates what she wants her teammates to model, and she just shows up with a fiery competitiveness. But this year it's about finding joy and being vulnerable, and even though moments like that aren't what you want, it's finding a way to say, what can I do? What will I do with this moment? She'll finish this routine off with a round off double twist. Controlled on that hop there. Another look at where things went south a bit. Similar to Rachel Rybicki, hips were off and then that caused the foot to turn. Bit of a chain reaction there.
Last week for Georgia in Huntsville, elevate the stage. A big reason why they had so much success on the floor, Harley Tomlin, career high last week on the floor.
That routine is just lights out, and it starts off with this front tumbling pass. She does a double Arabian. And the most impressive part of it all is gymnasts usually set up with the back handspring, but not Harley. She just has this natural power. Just a crisp stag jump right out of it.
She's bounced around in the 1 to 4 spot in the lineup. Big time being in the 3 spot coming into tonight.
Very nice, complete leaps. Truly cannot say it enough, but we'll do another very difficult front layout to double back. Great precision on that landing. And a no doubt performance from Harley there.
Coach loves it, team loves it.
You can see that they're creating their own energy in a place where there is none for the Georgia Bulldogs. They're doing what they set out to do, competing their normal, and doing it consistently. Marissa King and Cecile Landy definitely happy. They have a bit of a partnership in their coaching, especially on the floor exercise.
Here's Chloe LaCourcier.
We've talked about Chloe being a star on the bars, but I truly think where she shines and her execution shines is on the balance beam.
How so?
She just has this ballerina look to her movements, just very calm and poised. It's that natural float and lightness that she has combined with her attack and her arms that really makes her a complete beam worker.
She's won the beam on 3 events this season.
Solid on that acro series for Nerito back handspring step out. That's the biggest progression I've seen in Chloe Lecourcier's gymnastics, is how she's truly slowed down. She used to be quick to throw her arms to find the landings, and now she takes her time to breathe and really center herself. And it's paying off. A stuck round off 1.5 dismount to finish. That is the performance that they were hoping to do up until this point. Alabama's looking for the next 2 gymnasts to put similar performance like that up next.
And now for Georgia, it's Addie Wall, coming off a career high on the floor a week ago. Only 2nd time this season she's been 4th in the lineup on the floor.
Addie's so naturally competitive, been consistent for this Gym Dog team for quite some time now. Opens with a stunning, pops out to the landing on that full twisting double back. Front through to double back. Georgia is doing a really great job of cementing that front foot. That's usually what the judges will initially look for to start taking off, but the Gym Dogs not giving the judges a reason to pick up that pen tonight. Completes the 360-degree rotation there on the leaps. Would have loved to see a little bit more height, but that's because I'm being picky. And Georgia is just fired up on floor.
You mentioned a moment ago the energy aspect of it. How challenging is that, if at all, to create your own energy on the road?
It's definitely something that you have to practice in the gym. And another focal point for this Gym Dog team has been the communication piece. It's being able to maybe identify hiccups, see how they can be more cohesive as a group so they can create their own energy as they're doing here in Coleman Coliseum tonight.
First time tonight we've seen the sophomore, Kylie Kwame.
We've seen Alabama play with the order of their lineups, and Kylie is usually the anchor competitor.
Yeah, she's gone last in 6 meets. A 9-9 score on the beam in the last 4 meets that she's competed in.
Unfortunately, Alabama just continuing on this negative momentum they've had on the beam since 2 weeks, since last week in the 2 competitions. I've seen Kylie be a bit more sharp in her finishes here. Great front toss. And then one of my favorites to watch is that dismount right there. A little bit of a different look from Kylie Kwame tonight. So usually a bit more of an attack and edge. I'm not sure if it's the pressure of the mistakes prior to stay on the balance beam. Even in that dismount, she really enjoys to sit in that stick position, but not tonight. Gets the stick. But even in those mistakes, her gymnastics is also one of those that's no built-ins, really nothing to take.
Here's the freshman, Nyla Aquino. She had a career best on the floor a week ago.
A gymnast that demands the attention of any room that she walks in. Great double layout to open this. Fun routine. Front through to double back. Overcooked that landing just a bit. Watch these leaps. Great height on that wolf full. And mic drop moment for Nyla Aquino. One of my personal favorites to watch, just with the performance quality alone, but you mix that with the difficulty and the tumbling with this impeccable double layout there. No movement in both of the feet. This is where she maybe overcooked the landing. You saw her take a big step. 1 to 2 tenths deduction there, but again, we'll be flirting with that 9-9 score.
Here's Ryan Fuller in the anchor spot in the lineup for Alabama. It's been a while since she's been last. It hasn't happened since February the 6th.
Funny enough, Ryan Fuller was Alabama's leadoff competitor there at LSU, performed what I believe to be her best routine of the season so far. They have been going back and forth with her acro series that she is setting up right here, capable of a triple series. We'll see what she does. Just sticks with the back handspring layout, step out. Gorgeous in that execution in the air. Very pretty in those leaps as well. Great to see Fuller back in a consistent flow. She'll finish here, round off 1.5 twist. And she says, let's go. A big moment for Ryan Fuller here in the anchor spot. Has had to pivot, has had to roll with the punches.
Also big for Alabama, just to gain some momentum.
They are in the third quarter, indeed. You can see they are fighting, and better to have these moments now than when the bright lights are on at an SEC championship, at a regionals, at a nationals.
Mara Williams, the freshman, who's been excellent on the floor.
She's coming off of that stick momentum from that Yurchenko 1.5 that we saw earlier.
She has back-to-back career highs on the floor.
So confident. Double layout to start. It was so good. That step was merely decoration, executed to perfection. the confidence that just exudes off her, it's hard to believe that she is just a freshman. This level of constant confidence that usually built throughout your career, and she has it innately. And just continues to perform to their standard and exceed it time and time again. Ryan Roberts compares this Georgia team to the one that he coached at Alabama in 2021, who just so happened to clinch that SEC championship. He reminds them that there's a lot of parallels because of performances like this. Underclassmen stepping up. And just, you see the 9-9 stacking up. Great lift on that double layout. And a highlight moment for me, just gorgeous.
You mentioned the 9-9. She could be on the verge of her 9th career 9-9 on the floor.
Safe to say, big future for Kamara Williams ahead of her. So impressive to see the depth that Alabama has.
This is an exhibition, by the way. Georgia, no exhibition after this.
Making the most of these exhibition spots while you can.
What makes an exhibition so valuable?
Just having those extra repetitions in your bank, knowing that in any moment with gymnastics, someone could go down with an injury like we saw with Lily Smith in a warm-up setting. And those 7, 8, and 9 spots have to be just as prepared. These exhibition moments give them something to pull from, experience to pull from, that you just can't mimic in a practice setting. Jazzy doing a great job so far after that fall. Almost performing angry gymnastics, which I think allows you to compete better. It clears your head, and quite frankly, from that point on, you want to just show what you can do and get off the beam. She does exactly that. What she did after the fact shows that she's a very strong competitor and very competitive for this beam lineup.
So today it is senior day in Tuscaloosa. Here's a look at the seniors that will be honored today. And this is a very valuable group of seniors that have really done a phenomenal job throughout the course of their career.
They've had to endure so much good, bad, change, just the overall evolution of what it is to be a student athlete. And at Alabama, especially with the coaching staff, they've almost grown up and seen what the program is to look like. They've been so coachable, so steadfast in just wanting to be better, wanting to be the team that handles the hard better.
Georgia with a slight edge over Alabama as we get ready for the 4th and final set for both of these teams. But some of the favorites tonight for you so far, Kamara Williams with a hot start for Georgia.
Kamara Williams has been a standout this entire season, but it really paid off here. Stuck Yurchenko 1.5. The reaction is priceless, but the execution was simply perfection on that. And then Azariah Ra-Akbar, just so poised, finds a way to get it done every time. Wasn't the perfect 10, but just adds another one to her belt to build the confidence. So impressed with what these athletes have done so far in the night.
And that was a great bounce back for her. The vault didn't go the way she wanted it to, and that's how she responded. So series history, or the summary for tonight. And Georgia, they've just been so consistent really from the get-go tonight.
They had a clear goal to hit 24 routines. They've done that so far. Haven't necessarily had that increase in stick percentage. But have an opportunity to add it here on the balance beam.
Wachowski, the sophomore, first time to see her tonight.
Really nice on that triple series.
Her second straight meet being the leadoff on the beam.
Really finds her hands, her arms. You can see though that is what's centering all of her finishes. Beat jump to switch half there. A little bit off, but finds a way to minimize deduction. Just the dismount here, round off 1.5 twist. Again, not the stick, but very clean, solid effort from Brooke. Taking a look here at that beat jump. A little bit off just from the start here. I mentioned it earlier in the night, but how you start is how you finish. There was a bit of a rush there. And again, on the dismount, has to take a hop. But assistant coach Marissa King very happy with her leadoff athlete.
Chloe LaCourcier in the leadoff spot on the floor for Alabama.
Just a handful of times that we'll get to see this Hamilton-inspired routine that is taking the world, the Gymternet by storm. Lin-Manuel Miranda even got in the conversation there in the beginning.
You had to reach out on social media.
It's because of that first tumbling pass there. Great control on that landing.
What makes the leadoff spot so critical?
It sets the pace, not only for the energy of the lineup, but for the scores too. You have a high score, it sets the standard. Simply spectacular for Chloe LaCourcier. And that's why she finds herself in this leadoff spot time and time again. She's steady. She competes freely. And she has no doubt landings like that one. A bit of some form in the front layout. Judges will definitely take for that. But definitely turning the page from what that beam rotation was.
Second event of the night for Harley Tomlin.
We saw her absolutely shine on floor exercise. She finds a way to settle and float on the balance beam.
Found a hole being in the second spot, third consecutive meets. And the 2 spot in the lineup for Georgia.
Really impressive having the first 2 athletes up to go compete triple series. Sometimes you see athletes maybe water down the routine do what they know how to do it in the cleanest way, but not Georgia. A bit under-rotated on that round-off 1.5. But again, I keep going back to the triple series from the leadoff athlete to Harley, 2 back handspring step-outs to the layout step-out. So square. I would have loved to see a little bit more patience on the jump into the rotation, which is why you saw a bit of the step on the landing there.
Brings up the senior Rachel Rybicki.
It's been so special to see her growth and evolution here at Alabama. Believe it or not, is a walk-on athlete recruited from Alabama Gymnastics camp. Just came here for a summer to have fun and ended up making a statement that changed her entire life.
Has had a decorated career in a classroom and competing, 4.0 GPA, most community service hours on the team. Already has a job lined up in Dallas, Texas at Goldman Sachs.
Just gorgeous extension there. She pays so much attention to the details. Being a specialist, you have the luxury of doing it, and it's paying off for Rachel Rybicki here. Finishing off her final performance in Coleman Coliseum. Rachel Rybicki puts it down. And truly cements her name as one of the greats, one of the best to ever do it on floor exercise for the Crimson Tide. The execution speaks for itself. You can see her toes pointed in the air on that double back. Great job getting the leaps all the way around there, and then the final landing to finish.
She'll remember that for the rest of her days.
Absolutely.
Wolford goes to work on the beam for Georgia. She's been in the 3rd spot in every meet except for one this season.
Really had to fight for that bobble on the back handspring layout step out. Fighting a little bit of expectation there. She's been near perfect these last couple times on the balance beam, going 9.975 at Georgia's senior night just last week. Round off double twist to finish. She was very crooked. You want to see the athletes take off at the end of the beam to get maximum height potential there. This is a big bobble. Has to use her toes to grip onto the beam, manages to stay on. Excellent extension, perfect 180-degree split that the judges are looking for. Surprised that she did not miss that foot, but just speaks to the athleticism that these gymnasts have.
Matters competing on the floor for 4th consecutive meets.
And really clawing her way into this lineup. We can see in the way that Alabama likes to play with their lineups that no week is guaranteed for anyone, and Mackenzie has just shown it inside the gym. Sticks that double back cold. bit short there on that Popa. Would love to see more of that 180-degree extension. Double pike here. Wow, really has to work. You can see her whip her hips. Interesting technique to get it around, but finds a way.
Whatever works.
She'll definitely be happy with that performance there. And it started with this powerful opening. This was really the only part where visually you saw the mistake, short on that extension in the leap. Lacked a bit of height there. You saw her really absorb that landing and almost bobble into that pop out.
Our first look at the junior Jada battle out of Hampton, Virginia.
Jada having her first beam appearance just last week against Missouri. And an incredible one at that, scored a 9.9.
Coming back from an injury, missed all of last year.
Really enjoy the way that she is square in her hips, which is why she was able to still fight being off center on that first skill of the beam routine. She does her acro series at the end of her routine. Again, just seems to be just a bit off. Really important for her to put this dismount on her feet. Really great float on that back handspring, gainer full. Always enjoy to see the way that these gymnasts put their own flair to these skills, and Jada does an incredible job of, we'll take another look here. That lift is just so insanely high compared to the ones that you'll usually be seen being competed. Great job for battle on that routine.
Here's the talented freshman, Ra Akbar.
Front through to 2.5 twist, a blind landing. This routine has such a different style, kind of slows things down halfway through, but is perfect. Round off 1.5 to punch layout. Makes these tumbling passes look absolutely effortless. Flawless execution on that wolf turn. Always a great sign when you can get Coleman Coliseum on their feet, clapping along with your music. That's going to be an incredibly high score for the Crimson Tide. Beautiful 2.5 twist. Seamlessly finds that open and that flare out. And then this wolf turn. Just gorgeous.
So from one talented freshman to another, Kamara Williams.
really enjoy the confidence that Kamara has just shown all night, but even in listening to the way that she speaks about herself, her teammates, she says, we really feel we're the best, and every meet is an opportunity to practice what we're gonna do in the postseason. The best part is the postseason is here. She is performing. Ooh.
Her reaction says it all.
She really, really fought for that. It's difficult when your toes start to come up and you're on the side of the beam. You have nothing to grip on. Despite that mistake, that jump was executed to perfection. And this opens the door for Alabama here. Georgia with still one athlete to go. They're not going to want to count this fall from Kamara Williams. Goes without saying that she's had a phenomenal night.
No doubt.
A fall like that is going to cost Georgia. But you can just see she was fighting, using her shins to try to put her back on balance, but just didn't work this time.
So an opportunity for the junior Jamison Sears.
A gymnast who has truly grown into the way that she performs. You'd always see her dancing on the sidelines, never truly consistent in the floor lineup, but now has found her spot and nobody is taking it from her. It starts here with the double layout to open. Flawless. Best leaps in the NCAA done right there. She just finds a way to where you think her legs are going to stop and they just continue to rise. Jamison really needs to be patient, has had some inconsistency in this final pass. You might have caught Jamison on ESPN, and it is because of her full out energy. When she's got it, she knows she's got it.
She knew it right away tonight.
From the way she walked out on the floor. So sure of herself in that double layout. A little off center in the last angle. I didn't notice it as much, but would love to see more centering in those leaps. Crowd's not happy with the score.
.9950, and for Georgia, it's up to the senior Jeffrey Scott trying to end the night with an exclamation point for Georgia.
Huge pressure for Jeffrey Scott. Has been somebody who has been a no doubt consistent all-around athlete for Georgia.
Coming off a career high a week ago on the beam. 14 career 9.9. Georgia will love another one right here, right now inside Coleman Coliseum.
You can see the judges are slowly but surely taking their time. These judges' conferences are definitely not fun as an athlete, but they give you a second to really be present in the moment, to breathe, to know what you're about to do. It's just about using this break time wisely. Letting the anticipation build.
I mean, this is kind of like timeout, trying to ice the field goal kicker in football, free throws in basketball. This is essentially what this has turned into right here for Jeffrey Scott.
1000%. It's about her trying to block out this noise and knowing that Alabama, they've got the upper hand. They're at home. They've got 1,000 people in the stands watching. And Jeffrey Scott has to find a way to turn down the volume and find it right here.
Georgia looking for their first win in Tuscaloosa since 2006.
We've talked about the stakes all night, but just as head coach Ryan Roberts said, it's about execution. It's not rocket science here. She will open with a back handspring layout step out. Excellent. Oh, front aerial split jump to back handspring step out. So much added difficulty. Wow. I've got nothing on this routine so far. The leaps have been exquisite. The finesse on the moonwalk. And Georgia is one dismount away from doing something very big. Front walk over to Rudy. And that is exactly what the Gym Dogs needed. They had to get rid of that fall from Kamara Williams. What a way for Jeffrey Scott to respond.
She had to wait, she had to be patient.
It's in those moments of waiting where you lean back into your training. And this is where it truly showed up. So much swag. And so much security in that routine.
There's Gabby Gladio, final performance of the night for Alabama.
Last time performing this Alabama-inspired routine in Coleman Coliseum before she passes the torch. Opening, full twisting, double back. Walking out like it's nothing. This is the moment where the emotion starts to settle in, where you realize these are the last moments I will ever get of this. So much built on tonight. The rivalry, the journey, and the final landing. Gabby Gladio closes this chapter in Coleman Coliseum.
And she will lead to a standing ovation. What a night for the senior out of Greensboro, North Carolina.
There's so much to be proud of and just great gymnastics. Flawless in the leaps, in the jumps. And so sure of herself in that final landing there.
And a giant hug from her head coach.
Still flirting with perfection with the 9.975. But I can almost guarantee that this moment is so much bigger than what any score can be. It is the last time you'll ever get to do this with this group, with these coaches. What a way
Alabama has
to cement a legacy.
one final floor exhibition here. But how about Georgia going on the road, regular season finale, in a place that hasn't been kind to you over the years? Georgia, what a statement tonight.
And it's a 10th. That could have been found anywhere, whether it was a step on the landing, a slide in the foot. These are the moments where each team will have to pick apart this meet and find that half a tenth better. Because these are the moments that they're gonna need in order to propel them to the next stage, that is the postseason.
This is the freshman Jasmine Cawley.
Great execution on that first tumbling pass from Jasmine. This is an event where Alabama has so much depth that it's about choosing who is gonna go on the given day. Jazzy trying to build her case as to why she deserves to be back.
SEC Championships next week in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the 21st.
Round off 1.5 to lay out. Easy. Jasmine just putting on an encore performance to what has been a nail-biter in Coleman Coliseum tonight.
Is there a hotter team in the country right now than the Georgia Gymdogs? This is their 6th victory in a row, but more importantly, first time to win in Tuscaloosa since 2006.
Certainly heating up. This team continues to just be steady, not just in their performances, but in their approach. Lots of credit to those two head coaches, Ryan Roberts and Cecile Landy, picking up steam when it counts and taking home the win here in Tuscaloosa.
So Georgia comes out on top. We will step aside, come back, we'll have an interview and wrap this one up from inside Coleman Coliseum.